ancestor of the Hatfield and McCoy, so I mean, a really interesting.
He had a great speech on it. I didn't know if he was going to go.
A lot of you know that I grew up in West Virginia and moved to DeSoto Trail halfway through my 3rd grade year. What you probably didn't know about me is that 2 years before we moved to Tallahassee, our family had to move 4 times. That's right. I went to 4 different elementary schools in just 2 years. It wasn't easy. I just get to know a group of friends, and then 6 months later, I'd have to start all over again. My mom and dad felt really bad about it, but they also told me that someday I'd look back and realize that some good came out of it, and that I actually learned some important lessons because of all the moves. Well, guess what? That day finally came, and that's because I'm here graduating with some of the best friends and teachers that I could ever have. And I'd say that's a lot of good that came out of it. I've been thinking about some of the lessons I've learned while at DeSoto Trail and realizing that they're the ones that might be good for all of us to remember as we make the big move to middle school. When I showed up at DeSoto Trail in the middle of 3rd grade, I was put in Mrs. Hurst's class. She greeted me with a big smile and showed me her gator earrings and promised me that even a lifelong Florida Gator fan can make friends here. You'll welcome me just like we've been friends since kindergarten. As we move to middle school, I'm going to remember the example that Mrs. Hurst and all of you set, and go out my way to make friends even with people who are new or different than me. In 4th grade, I got to be one of the luckiest Sabanites, as Mrs. Saban called us. She was retiring that year, just like Mrs. Ferris is now, and they both put their whole hearts into teaching until their very last day. I learned from them that we should never decide that we have already worked hard enough and that we can just quit and take it easy before the job is done. I know if we try to have that same positive, persevering attitude ourselves in middle school, that we can all be proud of what we accomplished there. Having Miss Noel as our teacher has been like when you have your favorite dessert at a really great meal. Loved it all, but those final moments were extra sweet. Miss Noel reminds me of a saying I once read on a poster. It said, "People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care." I think every one of us in Miss Noel's class knew just how much she cared about us. She was always doing thoughtful things just to be kind. And of all the lessons she taught us, this might be just the most important one. The one that we can be helped with, not just in middle school, but for the rest of our lives. Whether we grow up and become doctors, astronauts, teachers, or politicians, if we really want to be the ones who make a brighter day, like we sang in the play last week, we can do it one person at a time, just by being kind. And so, to Miss Noel, Mrs. Ferris, Mrs. Saban, Mrs. Hurst, Mrs. Rockenstein, Mrs. Baez, Mrs. Gresham, Dr. Poole, Mrs. Keltner, and all the rest of you teachers and parent volunteers who made my years at DeSoto Trail so wonderful, thank you for everything you've done for me. To my mom and dad, thank you for teaching me that even difficult chapters in my life can have a happy ending. And to my friends and fellow 5th graders, congratulations, we did it. Now let's remember the lessons our parents and teachers have taught us as we go into middle school and make them proud.